Hi, hello, and welcome to another Reading Colleen Hoover books vlog, not vlog, video. So, I have to say the plan for this one are November 9, Never Never Part 1, 2, and 3, and it ends with Us. So, the reason why I have taken Never Never as the 3 parts is that they were written like that, so I could have just taken them into like one book, but yeah, it's just easier this way, and it will be a little less reading. So yeah, let's just talk about the first one, which is November 9. And in this one, we are basically following these 2 persons that I don't remember the name of. Basically, she has some scars because she has been in a like fire, so she got a 3rd-degree burning or something, and basically she decides to move to New York from Los Angeles. And basically what happens is that she meets this guy, and basically they decide that once a year on November 9 they will meet up every year for 5 years. So that's kind of the premise. I give it 2 stars. Basically, here's what I have written. So these are spoilers, by the way. I said this was creepy. I have nothing against fake dating. But how do you fall in love over 5 years when you only meet and talk to each other once a year? I don't get that. And basically, this happened like 3rd year or something. He started dating his dad's brother's widow, and that was just because she had a kid, and basically the brother died. And basically I said, just because she has a kid that you want to be a great uncle to doesn't mean you need to date her, especially since your heart belongs to someone else. So why do you choose to date someone else when you know that it will only end in heartbreak? And after that November, when they meet up, and basically we never hear anything about that relationship afterwards. We don't know what happened. We know they broke up, but we never hear about her or the kid again. And I really wanted to know what happened. And then we have, basically, when she starts dating someone else, he became super jealous, and then he's trying to ruin it. And I just feel like he clearly lost that, right? After he started dating someone else. And then the worst part is that he's the reason why she got the scars. And basically, he's the one that put the house on fire. And that is only because he blames Fallon's father for his mother's suicide. That is the reason why he put the house on fire. And I just feel like maybe check out if someone is in the house before you do that. Not do it. I don't say arson is fine, but he just put the house on fire for kind of no reason, and that just makes me mad. And it is not hot that you are an arsonist. And she forgives him because why? I don't see the reasoning, and that is why I hated this book really, really much. The battery is flashing at me, so let's just keep this short. I didn't like this. He already knew who she was, and she doesn't, and I just feel like feel like this is typical Colleen Hoover, that he knows her and she don't know that he knows her, but it just makes things a little weird that they never talk about it. And it's like, oh wait, well, by the way, that is the reason why they break up, and then they get together because apparently it's not bad. I mean, this is terrible. I would never date an arsonist, and especially if you try to kill my father, even if the father is an asshole. I wouldn't be happy if you put my house on fire while I was in there, especially, and basically then get together with me without even mentioning that, hey. So yeah, that was my thoughts on this book. 2 stars, didn't like it. I am glad that I didn't buy this book that I was planning on when I was like, I am going to read all Colleen Hoover books physically. So happy I didn't do that, and yeah. So, that was the first one. Next to Never Never, and see if those are any better. So it is a little later, and I finished all the books. So let's talk about Never Never first. So let's start with part 1 of Never Never. And I said that the first part is intriguing, and that is the reason I gave it 3 stars. It's not the most amazing book, but it's definitely, you are definitely wondering what is going on. And we know that this has happened before, but we don't know why. And it's interesting to basically learn about their lives as the reader, but also that they learn basically their life. And so far there hasn't been a lot of romance. We know that the 2 main characters has a past, but they do not remember it. So, I mean, this is only 158 pages, so it's not that much to talk about. But overall, the first one was really, really great. Then we got over to the second one. And the next part is written in a very compelling way. But for me, it was just a little more boring than part 1. So I gave it 2 stars. And I don't feel like we got a lot of information, just because there wasn't a lot of things that happened in this book. And to be honest, I think it would have been better if it was written as one whole book, just because each part is like 150 pages. And it just makes it go by really, really quickly. And I am really glad that I read this when all the parts were out. If not, I don't think I would have been happy with this ending. So let's get over to part 3. And I give it 1 star. I said, just no. They forgot they were basically, they forgot because they were soulmates and they were destined to be together. And I'm like, sure. And this was such a letdown. And I liked the first part, but with each installment, it just went downhill. And also, once we got to the epilogue, I was lost. Then we get to It Ends With Us, and I feel like this is definitely Colleen Hoover's most popular book, most loved book. I give it 3 stars. And to be honest, there was just a lot of things that kind of made me, I cannot love this book. I have never been in a violent relationship myself, but I have read reviews, and I have also heard one person basically talk about, she's Norwegian, as I am, and she has talked very openly about her violent relationship, and basically she talked about this book because she has read it, and yeah. So basically, first of all, the description of this book basically makes it seem like a love triangle. It's not. The book is about violence, and it should have trigger warnings of the contents. No matter what the author feels about this, there should be trigger warnings. If it's not trigger warnings directly in the synopsis, basically what I want to say is that you can have a post somewhere that mentions all the trigger warnings. I saw a book that basically has this. Basically, in this article, you will see all the trigger warnings, just because I feel like this book needs trigger warnings, because you get this feeling that it's a romance, that is a cute, loving romance, and it's not. Because this is about abuse, and I do not want to categorize this as a romance. I know a lot of people say that, oh, it's a romance. I don't feel like it is a romance, because once one person is abused, it's not a romance anymore. No matter how loving the other person is, it's not a romance. And I mean, you definitely see, you get the answer. Like, she is really in love with this person, and yes, but I also wouldn't categorize this as a romance. So you as I want to say that more of a young person reading this, thinking that it's not okay, but you kind of feel like it's, let's call it normal. And it's not. So basically, I think this one basically can fit to people who asks, why don't she just leave him? And basically can get a little insight on why some people don't leave abusive relationships. I feel like this really gives an answer to that, why some people, not all people, because all people are different. And this can definitely, I used to be like this, but why don't you just leave him? I was like that before until I started, you know, doing research. So once I got older, I basically understood why some people don't leave. And so yeah, and there was just a lot of things that I didn't fully love. So I could definitely see that this is a person who kind of lacks control once he gets angry and upset. From the beginning, like the first time we met Ryle, I definitely saw that. But that is because I, you know, see things because I come from a family where basically no matter how angry you get, it never goes, you know, it doesn't happen. Like something doesn't happen. I mean, you can be extremely angry, but it doesn't go out on like anything, anyone, anything. You don't basically try to kill a chair just because you are angry. You are trying to calm yourself down, and he didn't do that. And yeah, I just feel like no matter how angry you get, it should never, you know, go over to a person, never. And basically, then they meet months later, and basically he begs her to have a one-night stand. And yeah, and he doesn't want a relationship. He makes that really clear. And basically then he comes and begs, and basically I've changed his mind. I mean, yes, you're allowed to change your mind, but I just feel like Ryle really wants to have control over her. I don't like the diary entries that she has to Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know why you will, you know, write to someone else. So, and then I say, and there he hits her. And basically it says that there are no bad people, just people who do bad things. And I'm just like, what? No. Basically, there are a lot of bad people out there. And it's just, I wouldn't say that it's just people who does bad things. I wouldn't call it that, just because if you are a bad person, you are a bad person. There are a lot of bad people out there, and basically they are bad persons. They are not just people who do bad things. But then she decides that she's going to forgive him, and then she marries him. And I mean, how many days later is the first time he takes a swing at her? And I'm just, Ryle can go to hell. We basically get to know his trauma from childhood, but that doesn't make it an excuse. And he says that basically when he's angry, he blacks out. And I'm just, girl, stop with excuses. Stop excusing him. Just because it just annoys me. And yes, I know that basically they are basically excusing him. I mean, a lot of people in abusive relationships will basically excuse the person. I do know that. This is a really frustrating book, but it's not that annoys me the most about this, you know. It's not that. And I'm like, he basically says that I donate to charity, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if you donate to charity. I don't give a crap about that. If you are a crap person, you can donate all your money to charity. It doesn't make you a good person. And then he basically finds this magnet that basically the main character, I don't remember her name. Basically, her name's Lily. Basically, she got this from Atlas, who is her childhood friend, boyfriend, don't know what to call him. And basically, that's like 10 years ago. And basically, Riley's so jealous of the life that she had 10 years ago. And basically, I'm just like, it's 10 years of a different life. She met you like a year ago, and he's just so jealous of a life where he wasn't even a part of it. I just feel like this moment is not somewhere where he blacks out. This is a calculated move from his side. So this is not a person who does bad things. This is something completely different. This is something that he has been basically sitting and thinking. He has been thinking of doing this. So it's not just someone who does bad things. This is completely different. At least I feel like that. And basically, then you get to know that basically she decides that this is it, I'm going to leave him, and that is something that is a really difficult thing to do. A lot of people leave the person and comes back so many times. But she decides to leave and actually stays that way. So, and then she gets to know that she's pregnant. And I am glad that she decided not to take him back there and then, you know, because she cannot forget what he has done, and that is completely fine, you know. I would not have. But then she decides not to divorce him after he beat you senseless because of hormones. And I would have divorced him like that, even if I was pregnant, because I would not have been together with someone who has already beaten me senseless and will do it again. And then you let him be a part of your baby's life. That sort of annoys me. And one thing, I really liked her mother in this once she told what has happened, because basically her mother was in an abusive relationship, and basically her mother says to Lily, basically, if Ryle loves you, he won't let you be together with him. And yeah. And then I just feel like the book is trying to basically make you like Ryle again. And I just feel like it can never do that. The book has completely ruined Ryle from the first moment I met him. And basically, after that, she lets basically him have the child, even after everything he has done to her. And a lot of people are like, well, if she wouldn't, then the child wouldn't have a father. And I'm like, yes, because I would have never, if someone has beaten me senseless, I would never let him have my child. And basically, the middle name of the child is Dory, like Finding Nemo. And I'm like, she felt like she had a bad name, and she decides to take a bad name for her daughter. So yeah. And I'm saying that this should not be categorized as a romance. Because I don't feel like violence, abuse is romance. And Atlas didn't have a big part of this. Basically, you just met him a few times, and I just feel like having Atlas in the synopsis, I'm just thinking that he is not a big part of it, and I just feel like, what was the point, you know? So yeah, that was basically all my thoughts. I will link a article down below that I found really helpful for this. Basically, that was kind of all my thoughts. So yeah, I hope you like this video. This was a lot of talking, but yeah, I hope you like this video, and I will see you next time for another one. Bye!